Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? It is June 23rd, 2024. Years almost going by fast, bro. Just want to say hello, everybody. I haven't made a video in a while, but everybody's blessed. I just found out that Willie Mays, former baseball player, he just passed away on June 18th. So I'm going to play you guys some highlights. He was 93 that when he passed away. He was actually, even though I wasn't born in that era, he was, I read a lot about him back in the day and stuff as far as baseball wise. But so I'm going to let you guys hear this real quick.
As we learn of the passing of the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, the oldest living Hall of Famer, passed away at the age of 93. We remember that smile, the larger-than-life personality, and the talent. My goodness, the talent that transcended generations. He could run, he could hit, he could catch. He was magic on a baseball field. Meant so much to so many. A World Series champion, a 12-time Gold Glove winner, 24-time All-Star. Think about that, and a Hall of Famer. And we mourn his passing. Bob Costas with us now to reflect on the life and the legacy of Willie Mays. Bob, good evening to you. He took his all-around brilliance from the Birmingham Barons to the historic Giants franchise. He was on TV commercials and television shows. Fans couldn't get enough. What was it about this man?
Well, he is arguably the greatest all-around player in the history of the game, and he's connected to so much of baseball history. But there was something about him that statistics alone, impressive as they are, can't possibly capture. He was magnetic. People who didn't even understand baseball, if you took them blindfolded to their first baseball game, sat them down and said, okay, look at the ballpark, their eyes would immediately go to Willie Mays, as they would to Michael Jordan in basketball. And that reminds me of a story I've told once or twice before. Willie's 93rd birthday was only about a month or so ago, and I remember telling Greg Amsinger this story when I was with him in the studio. I went to one Giant game at the Polo Grounds and one Dodger game at Ebbets Field when I was 5 years old. My dad took me before both teams went out to the West Coast. And all I remember about the game at the Polo Grounds was the atmosphere, the swirl of cigar smoke and beer here, get your scorecard. And I'm sitting on my dad's shoulders in the grandstand down the right field line. And the old Polo Grounds was one of those ballparks with pillars, and there was an overhang. And my dad pointed, and he said, Bobby, look at that player right there. No, not that one. The one in the middle. That's Willie Mays. As if he was saying to his son, that's the Washington Monument. That's the Grand Canyon. I don't know if my dad had a crystal ball, but he wanted his son to take note that that was Willie Mays and that he would remember it always. Well, it's 67 years later, and I do.
Vivid memories, moments in time. Thanks for sharing, Bob. You said stats aside, and that stuck with me because we just watched superstars of our sport on this screen on TBS on Tuesday night. We watched Soto and we watched Judge. How can you put his talent into perspective?
Well, I don't mean to diminish anyone else. He was better than Judge, better than Soto. No disrespect. Judge is on a Hall of Fame track. Soto may join him eventually, certainly building that kind of resume. But as I said to Jeff Francoeur earlier, if you limited the Hall of Fame to 10 players, Willie Mays is easily among them, as is his contemporary Hank Aaron. You can fill out the rest of the list. Babe Ruth is there as well. But Willie was just an incredibly great player. Maybe for a more recent comp, I mean, Barry Bonds was sensational. Even the pre-steroid Barry Bonds would have been an easy, near-unanimous first-ballot Hall of Famer. And he was a Gold Glove left fielder. But left field is not as important a position, obviously, as center field. And Barry did not have a great arm. So maybe the closest comp in recent history would be the healthy, young Ken Griffey Jr. in two respects. He was a sensational center fielder. He was a great and fast base runner like Willie. He hit for power and for average, and he exuded joy. He was called the Kid, wearing the hat backwards. That's what Willie Mays did. Willie Mays exuded joy, like Magic Johnson on a basketball court. You could feel how much he enjoyed the game. And that transmitted to fans.
Exuded joy. What more is there, really? Right, Bob? 24-time All-Star and a personality that resonated with the masses. Bob, thank you so much for joining us and your time this evening as we welcome you back inside. Pedro, I mean, he was the guy you walked into every room. Everyone says it, the definition of presence. What were your interactions like with him?
Well, I must say, the first time I met him, I couldn't wait to get there just to see him in person, because I heard so much, I've read so much, I've seen the documentaries, I've seen every video out there, and that name, and just like Bob said, right along with Hank Aaron and some of those big names, are the essence of baseball. I remember seeing the Old Century team by me in 1999, and those names, when they mentioned those names, it was like seniority just showed up. Everybody else just be quiet. The two names that you can actually remember being mentioned, Willie Mays and Aaron, and it's like it resonates in your ears, and it has never, since I was a kid, I've been hearing the same thing about these names. The essence of baseball, the cream of baseball.
He was a fixture in clubhouses, Jimmy, in uniform, and we hold him in such regard, and rightfully so. He wasn't afraid to talk a little trash.
He definitely wasn't. Being able to spend some time with them when I went to spring training with the Giants, you know, they would set up a table in the middle of the clubhouse, and Willie would come there and need to sign a table, but it was Willie's table, and no one dare sat in it. They made sure your first day in, this is Willie's table, leave it alone. But when Willie came in, Willie wasn't Willie Mays, the legend. He was Willie Mays in uniform. He would sit there and call people out, and one day it was my number.
To his core.
He was like, "Where's that Rollins at?" You know, that high pitched voice. And I turned around. I'm like, me? What do you want with me? Hey, tell Rollins come sit at this table. So I sit at the table, and what does he want to do? Compare stats. How many times you steal 30 bases? How many outfield assists you have? Well, I'm a shortstop. Well, how many assists you have? I'm like, well, I've thrown more people at first base, but they're not technically assists. Well, how many gold gloves you have? How many stolen bases? And he loved being a ball player. It lived within him. And when he stepped outside the clubhouse, yes, he was Willie the legend. But when he was in that clubhouse and hanging out with the guys, I am one of the guys. And that was something that really blew me back. And going back before that, when I first got a chance to come across him, it was during the event we were honoring Hank and Willie. And, you know, I was asked if I wanted to meet him. I was like, I'm standing 2 feet, in front of them. I caught their eye, said hello, and that was enough. I was like, no, I'm good. That's baseball royalty. I will not cross that line, but I'm glad I had a chance to sit down and talk some trash with Willie, because it was a lot of fun.
And competitor to his core. We're all heading to Rickwood Field to pay homage to the Negro Leagues tomorrow. We're on our way. Willie served in the Army. He played in the Negro Leagues. He played at Rickwood Field. The timing is incredible.
It's amazing how sports kind of come together like that. The oldest ballpark in America is going to have a game on it on Thursday. The timing of this, now the game becomes a tribute to Willie. CC Sabathia is doing a celebrity softball game, and the name of the two teams are the Say Hayes in honor of Willie versus the Hammers for Hank Aaron. Two players that both played in the Negro Leagues. And you just talk about just the presence and the popularity he had. You go back to watch highlights of, yes, we see him on the field. Yes, we see him doing amazing things, but he would be in the streets in Harlem with the kids, playing with the bottle caps, playing with the broomsticks. Like, imagine seeing your idols in person and you get to play with them. Like, I was so excited most recently meeting David Justice and Ken Griffey Jr. And I did that as a pro, as an adult. Here were kids that got a chance to do that with him on his way to the ballpark, on the way home, going to get something to eat, going to get some snacks and candy. That's why they called him the Say Hey Kid, because he was just so loved by everyone and was a big kid himself.
Bob said he exuded joy. You did that, Curtis. My favorite quote ever, Willie said, every time I was on the field, and it was such a simple thing. Every time I was on the field, I was having the time of my life. I covered you for 10 years. In the inside of your cap, it said, don't think, have fun.
That's it.
That was you. That's the essence of this game we love so much.
It's got to be. I mean, we start playing this game as a kid, if we're fortunate enough to continue to play it as we get older, that's great. But that's why the fans are so excited, because they remember seeing it as a kid. They get a chance to bring their kids to the ball game. And Jimmy and I are so blessed. We get a chance to be connected with him statistically in history with the 2020. And I remember when we did that, I got a photo made for the four of us, and I was hoping to get him to autograph it. I never got him to autograph it, but to Jimmy's point, I got a chance to meet Willie. That's all I
have one. I have the one in my house.
I feel the same way.
And you know what? I'm gonna add something else. I took a little note and I said, it's ironic how you're saying Rickwood, the game, the names, and all that. This is the year where the Negro League players are recognized by their stats. And he got to see that, thanks to God, before he passed away. And it seems like all the stars are aligned to receive another star, Willie Mays. And I'm glad that Major League Baseball finally decided to honor those guys that were colleagues with him and that probably went to war with him. And I'm extremely happy to see that all of this is happening. And he's probably resting in peace right now, seeing all the things that are happening at the same time. And nobody wanted to see him leave, but if he's going to leave, let's recognize him even more now than we did previously.
I mean, people using the word, and we'll show some stars around the league weighing in on the passing of the late, great Willie Mays. When talking about him, they're using the word hero. I mean, this from Barry Bonds. I'm beyond devastated and overcome with emotion. I have no words to describe what you mean to me. You helped shape me to be who I am today. Thank you for being my godfather, always being there. Give my dad a hug for me. Rest in peace, Willie. This is from CC. I'll never forget this day when I walked in and heard, that's that boy who wears his hat like this. R.I.P. Willie Mays. You changed the game forever. Indeed he did. And inspired kids like me to chase our dreams. Thank you for everything that you did on and off the field, always in our hearts. This from Frank Thomas. R.I.P. to Willie Mays. There's great players, and then there's legends. And people use that. They use legends. They use heroes. Magic Johnson, I'm devastated to hear about the passing of the legendary Hall of Famer Willie Mays. One of the main reasons I fell in love with baseball. Cookie and I praying for his family, friends, and fans during this difficult time. We will continue to honor.
So I want to say this. Rest in peace to Willie Mays. Lived to be 93 years old, which is crazy. So I'm just going to read a little bit about him. Obviously, everybody already knows. Willie Howard Mays, Jr. He was born May 6th, 1931, and he just passed away June 18th, 2024. Nicknamed the Say Hey Kid, as they said, was an American professional baseball center fielder. Mays was a 5-2 player who began his career in the Negro Leagues, like they said, in 1948, playing for the Birmingham Black Barons, and spent the rest of his career in the National League, playing for the New York/San Francisco Giants and New York Mets. He played 23 seasons in the major leagues from 1951 to 73, earning a total of $1.8 million. So his batting average for statistics was .301. His hits, he had 3,293, home runs 660, RBIs 1,909, stolen bases 339. His teams are Birmingham, the Negro League Birmingham Black Barons in 1948, and we said I already heard that Major League Baseball, New York, San Francisco Giants. 1951 to 52, 54 to 72, New York Mets, 1972 to 73. And this is 24-time All-Star, as they said already in this video. World Series champion in 1954, two-time National MVP 1954, 1965, National League Rookie of the Year 1951, 12-time Gold Glover winner 1957 and 1968. Roberto Clemente Award in 1971, National Batting Champion in 1954, four-time National League Home Run Leader 1955, 1962, 1964, 1965. Four-time National League stolen base leader, 56 to 59. Hit 4 home runs in one game on April 30th, 1961. San Francisco Giants number 24 retired. San Francisco Giants, this is Wall of Fame. So I'm just going to say this. He played in an era just as well as Hank Aaron, and they both have passed, both legends. They played in an era where there was a lot of racial tension. And you know what I mean? So it's like you couldn't even imagine. See, we could say that times are tough now, but just imagine you being a baseball player in those eras, late 40s, early 50s, when black people were still, not recognized, as good people. And what I mean by that, not saying we were bad people, but white people, other people thought we were just, thugs, criminals, which they still do think to this day. They didn't like us. They discriminated against us. There was a lot of racial tension. There was blacks on one side of the bathroom, whites on the other side of the bathroom. I couldn't imagine. Like, I wish we had a time machine to see to see how people lived back then. You know what I mean? Because he was in an era where he played baseball, and he was blessed enough to play baseball. But the thing was, there was a lot of racial tension back then. But he became a legend, just as well as Hammer and Hank Aaron. They both, experienced, I'm sure, extreme racism back in those days. Calling people, again, call the N-word and all this other stuff, which is crazy. But, just imagine, you know what I mean? But see, here's the thing. I want to say this. They overcame because they know they had no choice. It's still like that to this day, to a certain degree. Obviously, there's people that speak out a lot more now. We have the internet, just like I'm on right now. But at the end of the day, it's like, and Willie Mays, even though I never saw him, as far as, I wasn't born in that era. My parents were. But just I saw highlights of him, read a little bit about him as a kid. I don't remember a lot, but just, he was one of my favorite players. Just reading about him and seeing some highlights, obviously, over the years, over with the internet. So, him and Hank Aaron, one of my two favorite players of all time, even though I wasn't born in that era. But I just want to say that it's good that people like this are getting honored, even though he's no longer on this, physical planet. He's going to be hopefully in the spiritual realm, hopefully God, and hopefully he's with God, I hope. Him and Hank Aaron and others, I hope. But this is how you want to be remembered as a man in this life. Because people called him legend. People said he was a great player, which he was, obviously, Hall of Famer. This is how you want to be remembered. This is how people should want to be remembered when they die. Is everyone going to like you? No. Is everybody going to like me? No. They're going to say some nasty words about me when I'm dead. I'm sure there's, it's going to be come across many people. Oh, that Russell Mills, but it's like, you don't want that. But this is the whole point what I'm saying about someone like this. Willie Mays to say, hey kid, somebody that was, a great player, great, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure, he was a good teammate and, and I'm sure he did things off the field that were probably good for the league or other people. But it's like, this is the whole point. The bottom line is, to me, is just being a good person. You know what I'm saying? And doing the right thing and being remembered, in this life before you die. So, we're going to say again, rest in peace to him. You know what I mean? I don't want to go on all stats. This video is already long enough, as far as, him and, but I just say this again, we as people better understand how hard it was for those people back then, especially black people. We think it's hard now. It is, but it's not. It was a lot harder back then. And, you know, especially with the discrimination and police, and, you know, not saying it still don't go on, because, you know, we already know stuff goes on. Now it's just over internet now. You know, whether it's real or fake, who knows? I'm sure some of it obviously is real, as we already know, already seen and heard on the news. But, you know, back then it wasn't on video. You know what I mean? Or who knows? Or maybe that stuff could have been, and, you know, people just erased it. Who knows? But at the end of the day, you know, rest in peace, 93 years old, Willie Mays, you know what I mean? And that's it, man. But I'm going to end this video. Say, hey, feel free to check out more on my YouTube channel. Type in my name. It's Russell Mills, RussellMills. May 22nd, 2017. My first video is called Why Black People Settle for Less. That's why more views, more subscribers. Feel free to check out more of my videos. Everybody take care. Have a great day. Peace.